All right, well, we've got the orchestrated roles where you work with other teammates and you work within a structure, but there's also the Billy Slater that excites us when he does it on his own, out of absolutely nothing. These length of the field efforts where you pick up a rolling ball and you're able to cut through the defence. Benji Marshall a couple of weeks ago says sometimes on the field he's not quite sure what he's about to do. Do you get into a zone like that too when you get into free space and you're just belting around? This try was unbelievable. You sort of beat yourself 3 times. You were down, you're up, you're in, you're out, in and out, and just beat them with sheer speed and footwork.
Yeah, that's exactly right. In those positions, you don't have time to think. You're just reacting. And my old man always told me good footballers react, they don't think. And, you know, there are times in your game where you've got to premeditate things and you are to structure, but you know, when there's a loose ball on the ground, when there's a grubber kick that goes in, they're my times where I just react. Kick returns, I react. I don't usually set stuff up. I get the ball, see what's in front of me, go flat out, and then you just react and rely on your running game.
So I've seen a lot of football over a lot of eras, and I've seen a lot of great fullbacks, and there are some really great fullbacks in our game today. They come in all shapes and sizes. You've got a combination with your dummy half, you've got a combination with your first receiver, combination with your 5'8", you can assist with tries on the outside and put people into space, and you've got this brilliance. I haven't seen anyone that's got it all like you have at the moment and what you're displaying. I mean, is there a fullback you modelled your game on, or are you aware of how you're developing a player in this Melbourne Storm side?
Not really. Thanks for the compliment, Gus. No, I'm not really aware of what I'm creating as yet. I'm sure once I finish playing football and I've retired, I'll sit back and, you know, admire what I've achieved and what I'd become as a football player. But, you know, at the moment, I'm looking to improve my game, and all those things you say, I've got those combinations with all those players. You know, I still have to concentrate on the little things in the game. I still have to concentrate on the catching the high balls, pushing up in support. And if I don't concentrate on them and just think about those big plays, you know, I just become one of those players that, you know, falls off the back burner. So, you know, it's important for me, and there's a lot of things that I'm good at, but I have to concentrate on them every week. And if I'm not doing them good every week, well, that's when I start becoming the player that I don't want to become.
We'll finish with this part, because the thing I love about the Melbourne Storm and why I don't find them boring and I find them meticulous, I find them clinical and professional in what they do, is that they can work out a weakness in an opposition team and be relentless in their pursuit of success. They will keep driving at it and driving at it, in the back of their mind knowing a result will come later in the game. If we go back to the grand final last year and the try that you scored in the second half, which was some nice lead-up work from Cooper Cronk and Adam Blair, I think it was, on the edge of the field. Hey, you targeted Mortimer on the edge of the field all day. Cooper Cronk's looking at you. Parramatta's looking at you out the back. And all of it is designed is to get Adam Blair one-on-one with the little man in the defence line, and you knew who was getting the ball because you came streaming through in support play, and he knew you would be there. As soon as he got through, he turned and popped the ball out for you. That's meticulous rehearsal to me.
Yeah, you know, I don't think it was so much Daniel Mortimer that we targeted. We knew our strengths on that side. We knew Adam Blair's strengths, and he was playing really well for us at the back end of last year on that right edge. You know, we went through that side with Cooper Cronk, and Adam Blair actually scored in the first half. So, you know, it was just a change up. We have players, like I said before, I was actually expecting that ball from Cooper, but he overrode me. He saw something that he thought Adam Blair could go through. So
and you reacted straight away.
He reacted on that, and, you know, as soon as Adam Blair gets the ball...
Because you know that option's possible too.
For sure. There's a lot of options possible. Cooper could have kicked then, and, you know, my first instinct would have been to chase that kick. So you've just got to react once the play's been made, and I think the good players react that split second quicker than the average players, and that's what makes them the good players.
Well, I'm going to show you 3 players react to something special a couple of weeks later. Very nice of you to say you didn't target a player in the opposition, but on this occasion against the St George Illawarra Dragons, you fellas came up with this try in the second half that set the crowd alight.
48 metres from the Dragons line. Smith scurries out a dummy half. Cronk, oh, what a ball! What a pass! Slater for Melbourne has scored! But you have just seen rugby league excellence! What a pass for Billy Slater!
Now, it's nice of you to say you don't target players in the opposition team, Billy. All right, now I'll let you get away with that, because prior to that game, I was out on the field with you and a couple of players, and you were nice and relaxed start of the game. And I actually spoke to a teammate and I said, how are you going to play him today? And they said, we'll just be relentless around the middle, we'll wear down their forwards and we'll get a tired one late. And that was pretty much the plan for the day, which you did. You went out and wore their forwards down, inside passes and quick play the balls and running from dummy half. And then at an important stage in the second half, the three amigos, Cameron Smith, Cooper Cronk and Billy Slater, see that Michael Wayman, a front rower, is standing next to a centre, Matt Cooper, in their defence line. And that's what you're waiting for. And all of a sudden, Cameron Smith will dart out of dummy half, just roll the vision again. He will come out of dummy half. He will engage Michael Wayman. Michael Wayman is now flat-footed, and we've got a front rower alongside a centre. Cooper Cronk is already heading to the outside of Matt Cooper because he knows he wants to play that gap on the inside, and it becomes a foot race between Wayman and Billy Slater. Mismatch. Now, it's all right to say you don't target individuals in the opposition team, but the plan on the day to wear down their forwards and look for this opportunity so Cameron Smith and Cooper Cronk can fire the arrow named Billy Slater through the hole and into the backfield, that's meticulous.
Yeah, I can't use that excuse there. We, you know, we knew Michael Wayman was a bit tired. He'd been on for a bit and made a few tackles before that. I think he actually was in that tackle with Greg Inglis. And, you know, you go back to, you know, me scoring the try is what everyone sees. But you go back to Greg Inglis making that big run, bumping off a couple of players, getting a quick play the ball. Cameron Smith, actually, I just teed up with Cooper Cronk that I was inside him and we were actually going to take the big man on the inside anyway. But Smithy wasn't actually supposed to get out and run, but there was one marker, there was a couple of players on the ground, and that's what Cameron Smith does. He gets out and runs, and then that probably created the play for us because it stood Michael Wayman.
He was smart
still
enough to realise he wasn't going to be the one to have to do it. He gave it on to the two blokes that had it planned.
So once that happened and they were on the back foot, Cooper knew what I was doing, I knew what Cooper was doing, and that's why he basically didn't even have to look at where he was passing. He knew I was going to be inside Matt Cooper, and once I broke the line, I go back to what I said before, it's just a reaction. You know, Craig Bellamy said to me early in my career, when you're in the clear, usually the first instinct that comes into your head is the right one. And sometimes over my career I've thought about things too much and overplayed my hand, whereas the first thing that comes into my head is usually the right one for me.
All right, mate. Well, I've got to say that the success the Melbourne Storm has had, the success that you had, is no fluke. I can see the work and preparation that goes into it. I think anyone that knows the game really well understands why the Storm are as successful as they are. Thank you for sharing those things with us tonight. I hope the kids at home enjoyed it, and anyone who wants to be a fullback, model yourself on Billy Slater. He's an absolute beauty. Back to you, Fatty.
Thanks, Gus. Once again, that was great television. One of the greatest minds in the game, Phil Gould, talking to one of the great modern-day fullbacks. And he's one of those players, isn't he, Billy, that when you're watching a game, whether it's as a commentator or a fan, and he gets the ball, it's like, stand up, what's he going to do?
With all due respect, looking at Billy Slater when he first came into grade, I didn't think he was going to be that great. But, you know, he's blossomed, and as he pointed out, a lot of it has got to do with the coaching and the core of players that they've got out there, but the ethic that they have. You know, they, as he said, they've all got roles to play and they do it better than anyone.
All right, and saying that, they're in trouble Monday night because down at Etihad, they take on the might of the Manly Seagulls, who have won 3 in a row. And one of their stars who directs them